Hello, I am Dayana and I am the EMA Program Representative for MARIHE. Just to clarify, EMA is the Erasmus Mundus Students and Alumni Association, and I am also an alumna of the 7 cohorts of the MARIHE program. Today, I am delighted to have with me Sina Westa, the Program Coordinator of MARIHE, to talk about various aspects of the program. We hope this session will help prospective students gain a better understanding of what MARIHE entails and answer some of the most common questions. Thank you for joining us, Sina, and welcome.
Thank you so much, Daya, for inviting me to this session. And I'm very happy to be able to share more about the MARIHE program and application with all your listeners, and maybe to motivate them to apply, because we are always looking for motivated students in our program.
Sure, thank you. Well, so to start, could you tell us what MARIHE is and what makes it unique?
MARIHE stands for Master in Research and Innovation in Higher Education. And as you already can see from the title, it's about research and innovation in higher education. So that's rather straightforward. The overall aim of MARIHE is to foster and educate next generations of professionals for managing higher education, research, and innovation. So the program is open to everyone who wants to actually engage in some form in higher education professionally. It is an Erasmus Mundus Joint Master. It is a 120 ECTS 2-year master, so it's 4 semesters. And of course, we also offer, as all Erasmus Mundus Masters, a scholarship, which at the moment is 1,400 euros per month that you study in the program, if you're successful applying on it. At the end, you will be rewarded an joint or double degree. That depends on the specialization, but we will talk about this later on. The language of instruction is English, and we have a student intake once a year in October.
Mm-hmm.
We would say we are unique, global, and selective. Of course, selective because we only have limited number of places and applicants from all around the world, so we need to be selective, and we also want to have high standards in our program and within our alumni. We are global, and that means actually we have partners from all around the globe, also from Asia, not only from Europe, within our degree awarding partners. And we're unique because we're actually the only Erasmus Mundus Joint Master working in the area of higher education. And not only the consortium is global, but our students are global as well. So we try to reach a global spread among the students within each cohort. So we have a huge degree of diversity. As every Erasmus Mundus program, it includes mobility. And actually, every student will study in Austria and Finland in Europe. And then during their specialization, they can decide if they return to Austria, Finland, or if they move to Germany, Hungary, and totally new in the program, we have Portugal with us. And every student also does a specialization in Asia, so they can choose between India and China. And in addition, we also have a worldwide 8-week internship where students really get to the practical things in their studies. We don't charge any participation fees at the moment for self-funded students, so it's also worth to think about applying not only as a scholarship holder, but also as a self-funded student, and you wouldn't have to pay fees at the moment.
That's amazing.
That's in short about our program.
Yeah, thank you so much. Amazing, and thank you for that overview. It is absolutely global, as you said. Now, what are the most important qualities you look for in applicants?
So actually what you need to apply as a self-funded or scholarship student is a university degree. It needs to be 3 years in duration and similar to 180 ECTS. So if your country doesn't apply ECTS points, there are usually conversions to convert the workload of 180 ECTS, but you can see more on our website. Usually it's a bachelor degree. We are open to all disciplines, so we don't ask you to be from any particular discipline as long as you're highly motivated and you really are ambitious about higher education. So that's our next selection criteria. We want to really engage students who are ambitious and motivated about higher education and who really want to engage in it professionally in their later career. So if you fulfill this, you have a great chance of getting a place. And of course, as the language of instruction is English, we need you to be in a good command of academic English writing and speaking and understanding skills, which you will have to prove with a language test. There are a couple of exceptions, but they are few. So please do make sure that you read the guidelines and that you're eligible and submit a test that is accepted by us. Unfortunately, we cannot make any other exceptions than stated on our website.
Right. That's really helpful. Another common question we receive is about career prospects after graduation. Can you share what types of roles MARIHE graduates typically pursue?
Of course, first of all, after you graduate, you usually want to start working. So we actually have 75% of our graduation finding an employment within 6 months after their graduation. So actually the chances are very high that you will find very soon after your graduation a paid job. More than 20% of our students continue with a PhD in a highly recognized PhD program. So there you see also one career prospect. So a lot of them follow up on an academic career, but some do go other ways as well. We have 90% of alumni who stay professionally engaged within the topic of higher education and of the MARIHE program. So it seems like they really find a new employment within the topics offered by our program. Employment fields are now we also focus on educating our students to be able to work within university alliances that have a new challenge from a coordinative side. Of course, they work in higher education institutions and research intensive institutions, but some also move to government agencies or work in the area of consultancy. Some of them also work in international, supranational organizations, in non-tertiary education institutions, and a couple of them even start with them self-employment and create startups.
That's amazing. It's actually a very wide range of options for MARIHE graduates. Thank you. Now I'd like to ask about the master's thesis. What kind of research projects are students required to complete?
The master thesis is part of the 4th semester, so students are required to write a master thesis about a topic related to higher education at the host institution of their allocated specialization. So they can either write it in their European specialization or their Asian specialization. That's more or less their choice. They're indeed quite free in choosing the topic, so it also depends on what they want to do in their later life. They need to do a research project, so it has to be really research, including literature review, data collection, analysis, interpretation, formulating research questions, having a theoretical and a methodological framework, so everything that includes a research project. But our students are not alone when they engage in a master thesis, of course. We do offer master thesis seminars for our students. So in their specialization, they will be with a smaller group meeting a couple of times, also depending on the specialization, where they get actually additional support on how to write a master thesis, on get more counseling on how to proceed. And of course, as every master student, they will also have a dedicated supervisor for the master thesis. But we try not to only rely on the supervisor, but to give them the chance to also form a group working on the master thesis and supporting each other and fostering peer learning in this.
Right. I think it is very important that you mentioned this because sometimes students, like I will speak for my own experience, some former classmates didn't really have this research experience, but I think the thesis seminar allowed them to, gain these skills and actually come up with very good research projects at the end. So I think it is very important that you mentioned this part, and also having the supervisor, it also helps a lot.
Actually, it's good that you mentioned it. We, in fact, do have students who have never written a bachelor thesis or master thesis. Of course, a master is not a requirement for the study program, but some even in their study programs didn't write a bachelor thesis. So we are well prepared and enabling them to write the first thesis. And yes, we have an almost 100 success rate in our program. So they're all managed very well. And they have training on writing and developing research projects also throughout the master. So we don't start in the last semester, but it's more process over the whole study program that will guide students to finding the master thesis topic and to writing it and actually, enabling them to do it very well.
Yeah, absolutely. You earlier, when you introduced MARIHE, you talked about Erasmus Mundus Scholarship, and you mentioned that it is 1,400 euros per month. So I would like to ask you if this scholarship covers travel costs and accommodation.
Actually, the scholarship is there to cover all student-related issues like the travel, the visa, and installation costs, subsidized costs, but it's up to the students to actually decide what to do with the money. They will get it. We won't prove what they do with the money, but of course it's for supporting their studies. And it also depends on the student, on the places where you go and how far the money is sufficient to really support everything. Of course, if you go in a shared apartment, it will be cheaper than if you want to have an 80 square meter apartment for your own, then probably yes, it won't be sufficient, but it's actually up to the student. But on our website, we have some calculations and some ideas for applicants where they can see how much they can actually expect as living costs within the specialization. So we have some support structure, but of course those things change and it highly depends on the students and their needs and how much they want to go with it.
Right. So this scholarship is for the whole duration of the program, correct?
It's a maximum of 24 months,
Mm-hmm.
but if you finish the studies within 22 months, you will get it 22 times.
Right.
But
Okay.
usually it's the 24 months and you get it for each month that you're in the program and actively participate in classes. So if for any reason you can only join remotely, of course, you wouldn't get a scholarship because it's for supporting also a mobility program, and we are a mobility program. So students will have to relocate a lot of times. But actually it's a nice experience and a good learning experience. Sometimes it's challenging, of course, but I think at least our students tell us it makes them grow personally and as people and being really well prepared for a life on the move.
Yep, absolutely. I totally agree with that. Well, thanks for this information on this scholarship. And is there an age limit to apply or for applying?
No, indeed, there is no age limit. And if you already have a master, as long as it's not an Erasmus Mundus master, you can also apply. So there is no age limit. We welcome all students that want to apply and, of course, who have the eligibility criteria matching their program.
Okay. So as there is no age limit, we often receive this question as well for those who have a partner, spouse, and children. And they usually ask if they can travel with them. What can you tell us about this?
Of course, they can travel with their partner, their spouse, their children. But I have to mention that the organizational issues related to visa, insurance, housing, childcare is the responsibility of the students. We can't take care of all of these. Of course, with the international office, there is a certain degree of support and of information available, but it's up for them. But of course, and we in fact do have married students as well. We have people traveling with their spouse and they all find a way to work. And if there are any doubts or if they want recommendations, I would actually suggest to approach our alumni and ask them how they did it, because they usually do have valuable information on how they dealt with the issues connected to traveling with family.
Yep. Thank you for that. Now let's move on to the application process. You have already said a few and many relevant things on it, but I would like to ask how competitive it is.
Actually, MARIHE is a highly selective program because we can't offer that many places. We want to have small groups to really have the best education for the students. And that, of course, isn't possible if we have 40 students in a classroom.
Mhm.
So yes, we have applicants from all around the world. And yeah, you can highly increase your chances of getting a place in the program if you also apply as a self-funded student. At the moment, we have only one application period open for self-funded and scholarship students, but there is the box where you can tick if you're not actually successful as a scholarship student, you can already indicate that you would also like to participate as a self-funded student. You don't have to be afraid that that will increase or decrease your chances of getting a scholarship. They're actually treated differently, but as we have a limited number of scholarships, but more places on the program, you will highly increase your chances of being part of the program if you say you're a self-funded student. And as I already said, there is no participation fee. So you would only have to cover your traveling and your living costs. And there are also other funding programs and possibilities to get some money on top, like Erasmus Mundus mobility programs, where you can actually, moving within Europe, apply for funding for this. So there are options, and you can find some of them also on our website. So I highly recommend applying, of course, if you can afford it, as a scholarship and as a self-funded student.
Okay, that's actually very good to know. Now, let's suppose that I am a prospective student. And what are the most important things when I plan to apply for MARIHE? What should I keep in mind? Like, these are the key elements that I should consider.
First of all, you should really read our guideline for applicants and refer to the website. All information is provided there. If you're in doubt, you can always reach out to us, sending us an email. You find the email address also on our website.
Mhm.
And please do make sure that you fulfill all the eligibility criteria. We can't make any exemptions on them. So if you don't fulfill them, you actually spend a lot of time on your application because it is demanding, it's time consuming. And I think making sure that you fulfill them is the first step that you should really go. Otherwise, we can't consider your application. And that said, it's the first university degree, which has to be 3 years. We don't accept degrees that are a 2-year bachelor and a 2-year master. We can't do this because we have to actually take into account all the institutional regulations of all partners that each student can successfully graduate. It's the English language test, and there are just a couple of exemptions which you find on the website, but it's not sufficient if you send us a letter from a university stating that you're in good command of English. It's just the English test, because for some of our partners, you need to have this in order to be admitted as a student. So please do check this. And of course, we want to see you being really motivated and ambitious in the topic, because that's what we actually really value with our students, and also external lecturers love teaching our students because they're so ambitious and they have so much energy and they're so positive and they're so interested in the topic. So try to make us believe that you really want to do it, and also show us what you want to do with the MARIHE Master at the end and what your career plans are. So try to make a coherent application that actually shows us you as a person. And there would be the things, but make sure that you're eligible. And despite it is highly selective, try to apply. You never know the outcome before you apply. So I think it's worth a trial, and try to increase your chances also as a self-funded student if it's possible for you. And be yourself, be honest, and show us why you want to do it.
Right. Thank you for that, Sina. I just want to maybe repeat on this, which is a key element, and is reading. As you said, all the information is on MARIHE's website. It is very specific. It is very well explained. I have been through the process, and luckily, all the information is there. So just, go ahead, have a look. Everything is very well explained. So I don't think that they're like you will feel lost. And what do I do now? I don't know what the next step is, because the process is very intuitive, let's say, and it's very easy to follow. Okay. Now, moving on to one of the application documents, which is also on the website again, and that's a letter of motivation, right? Do you have any tips for writing a strong letter?
Actually, as I said, be yourself. You can actually choose if you want to write your personal story or if you want to provide references academically, so it doesn't really matter. It's up to you. We have provided some questions that we would like you to answer. So what is your motivation to participate in the MARIHE program? And also give us example. It's the only chance how we can get to know you. So please try to give us the chance to get to know you also as a person and your motivation, not only as a person having very good degrees. We also would like to know why the master course is the next step for your personal career plan. So be specific on this. And which abilities, academic, professional, personal, qualifies you to participate in the MARIHE program. So why do you think that you are a very good candidate and that you will actually not only participate, but move the program further forward with us together? Yeah, and in general, as I already said, your application should be coherent in itself and be specific.
Right. Thank you. And what about reference letters? Can a letter from a previous application be reused, or do applicants need new ones each time they apply?
In general, it's up to the applicant to choose his or her reference.
Mhm.
Yeah. So the applicant should feel that this person will write a letter of recommendation according to our instructions, and we have instructions for referees on our website as an orientation. Of course, they don't have to follow it, supporting the application of the MARIHE applicant. So the more specific it is also for the program and the person, the better it is. We actually really would like to know why your referee knows you and what experience he or she had with you.
Mhm.
And we recommend that one of your referees should be a university professor or university lecturer that knows you from the university classes, because of course we are a higher education program, so that will give us feasible insights. If you do have work experience or internship experience, of course, you can also think about having a letter of recommendation from one of your supervisors there. Yeah, and we strongly recommend everyone to give the information sheet that we provide to the referees. It's available on our website and it will guide them to write a good letter of recommendation. Whether it's a good idea to use older letters for other programs, that's actually up to the applicant to decide. So
Mhm.
it's not that you're not eligible because you do this, but if
Mhm.
it's a good idea, every applicant needs to decide on it, his or her own.
Right. Okay. Thank you for clarifying that. Now, moving on to internships, could you explain the types of organizations that typically offer internships, and if there are partnerships that help students secure placements?
So every student in the MARIHE program will get a first-hand insight into the management and development of research and innovation in higher education through an internship. It is mandatory. It is at least 8 weeks, and it's a credit-bearing element of the MARIHE curriculum. So you actually have to do it. On our website, you can find some institutions that offered internships in the past.
Mhm.
And we do actually have a good group of internship hosts that really provide good internship conditions also for the students. And you can choose from those, but of course you can also, suggest another internship host, but we come to this later.
Okay.
Payment by the host is not mandatory, so you can't expect having additional money from it. And yeah, we have an elaborated matching process, so you don't have to be afraid that you're without a placement. So we
Mhm.
will make sure every student gets a placement that fits their career plan, that fits their personality. And students will also have to apply to the internship hosts. We don't see this as just a thing they have to do, but it's also about employability, because applying for an internship is a good step, learning how to write an application. And that's something everyone will need finding employment later on.
Absolutely. Thank you. I think you mentioned that the students can also find the internship on their own. So if that is a possibility, is the location relevant?
The location is not relevant. The internship can be worldwide. So we are not restricted to any countries. If students want to suggest an institution, they may need to make sure that it's not an institution that they have already worked in or studied in, because we actually want them to discover something new. And the new internship host needs to be approved by the consortium. We take a little bit of control here by approving it, because we want to make sure that all students have good placements and that they have internships that really support the career development, and not just being somewhere where they are left alone and we're not supported, because we think that an internship is a value experience, but it needs to be with a good and high quality internship host, that student can make the best out of this experience.
Right, absolutely agree. And now, earlier during the introduction, you were talking about how MARIHE is, and you mentioned the specialization. So could you tell us more about what a specialization means in the program in MARIHE?
Of course. So first of all, the first 2 semesters, all our students are together. And we think that's important because they form a strong group. They are a community and they can support each other on the way through the master. So in the first semester, all our students are in Austria, Krems. And in the second year, they are in Tampere, Finland, all together. In the third and fourth semester, they will be split. They can choose between 7 specializations, 1 out of 2 in Asia, that would be China or India, and 1 out of 5 specialization in Europe. So that's Austria and Germany, Hungary, Finland, and from this point on now, Portugal as well.
Okay, this is actually very international, I have to say.
Yes,
Amazing.
it is.
Amazing. So now that you said, you mentioned, the countries here in Europe and also the 2 other countries in Asia, can the students choose their specialization locations, or does MARIHE assign them?
Actually, during the application, we already asked students to indicate what choices they want to have. But in the past, we had a lot of students after the first semester thinking, okay, but maybe I now want to do something else. So we have introduced in the first semester another internal application round where students can indicate their first and their second choice for a specialization. The final decision on allocation will be made by the MARIHE consortium, because of course we need to make sure that students are more or less equally divided between the partners. But to be honest, in the past, we never had problems. So we never had crying students. Almost all students either get their first or their second choice.
All right, thank you. And there is one final question, Sina. We often hear from prospective students about connecting with alumni for guidance. Are there any networks for such purpose?
Yes, of course. We have our MARIHE alumni network. And Daya, you're our first contact point when it comes to this. And you also we have a buddy program organized by the MARIHE alumni network that are alumni or older students that will help you and give you personal support and guidance during your MARIHE journey. And of course, we have the Erasmus Mundus Students and Alumni Association, EMA, where we have the interview now, and you can also reach out to them if you want to hear more from the alumni.
Yeah, thank you, Sina, for that. Yeah, of course, you can come to us, to EMA, and we will be happy to give you advice, support you all the step of the way, so you get that scholarship or that place in MARIHE, either as a scholarship holder or self-funded students. Well, Sina, thank you so much for joining us today and providing such detailed answers. To reviewers, we hope this session has been helpful. If you have further questions, feel free to reach out through our social media. MARIHE has its own Facebook page, LinkedIn account, and obviously their website. We, as the students and alumni, we have our Instagram account, so you can also follow updates through it. And best of luck with your applications, and thank you for watching.